Hello, everyone, and welcome to the As Seen on TV podcast for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1, Episode 5, A Girl in the Flower Dress. I'm your host, Dom. With me, I have Mike. How's it going?
Pretty well.
Pretty well.
Indeed.
Is it just me, or is the show getting better and better as it goes?
It definitely found its stride, found its footing, both. And yeah, it does seem to be getting better and better as it goes. And something I was telling Naomi before was that it's getting a bit, it seems a big graphic for, a primetime network show.
Yeah, definitely is. There was a lot of burning, charred flesh. So.
And last week's needle in the eyeball. But her reasoning, which I like and I'm going to steal, is it's Joss Whedon. He just made that company $1 billion+ with the Avengers movie. He can do whatever the fuck he wants to get away with it.
This is true. This is very true.
So,
yeah. And so we finally saw at the beginning of this episode, we saw a street magician in Hong Kong. He had actual powers this time. This guy could conjure fire. Why not use them for a better, I don't know, like effect with his audience?
well, we find out later. I mean, initially I'm thinking, hey, he's got the power to control fire. I know this from the preview. Why the heck isn't he doing it? Like, why not just use a little spark here, a little spark there, do some magic, wow people. Well, it turns out that S.H.I.E.L.D. is watching him. He's on a list of people with powers, and he's being monitored, so it's probably very naughty of him to use them.
Right.
At least in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s
It
eyes.
seemed like they were kind of repressing their power. It had like I almost want to say like an X-Men vibe to it.
Yeah, he did. He reminded me a lot of Pyro, except Pyro needed something to create the fire for him.
Right.
And this guy could just outright conjure and control, and well, he wasn't that fancy with it.
Right. Well, Coulson was the one that mentioned that they were watching. They had a list of people in that. But he also mentioned something called a power protocol. What do you think this power protocol is?
Best guess is it's basically the ground rules S.H.I.E.L.D. lays down for these people on this list of people with powers as to the do's and don'ts. Like, do not use your power for any reason in front of other people unless in extreme mortal danger. Even then, they'll probably frown upon it.
Yeah.
Just don't use it.
Yeah, I could see that. What about when they found out that the reason why the chemical for centipede was burning through its victims and causing them to explode? They found the blood pellets on this guy were fire resistant, and they actually extracted all of those, and they reformulated it into the centipede virus. Now, do you think now that it's actually become stable, because since this is now mixed into the centipede formula, do you think we're going to be seeing a lot more of it?
Perhaps. I mean, it took out his platelets, guy has no platelets left. I feel bad for him if he ever gets a nick or scratch or a cut that decides to bleed. He's just going to bleed out like someone with whatever the heck that is. Anemia, I think. No. Brain no work. Medical dictionary offline. Continue. They found that his platelets were fire resistant, so whenever he conjured the fire, he wouldn't get burned. Which, hey, that's a pretty good explanation. I'll take it, scientifically, why he isn't getting burned. Extracting all of them from his body and then putting it into other people, or melding it into the extremis virus so that, it doesn't cause people to explode. It's a Marvel show. They could do anything scientific if they conjure the right mumbo jumbo for it. So I buy it. I like it. Good idea. Will we see more of it? Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting a lot more of it. We kind of got a little preview of the base of operations today. It looked like one of their smaller out of the way facilities, but it looked like almost where most of the progress was being made for Centipede in the first place. So
Yeah, I like the way they put it when they discovered the place. Like, you know, the building's manifest or whatever has the sixth floor as empty or being used for storage, yet it uses over half the building's power.
right.
That's not right.
Just put the power generators on a different floor, and
Mm.
then siphon all the power there, and then you won't know where the power is coming from. They're not that smart. I don't know.
Nope.
So, what was your whole take on the operation there in general?
It reinforces my thought from the first episode. This isn't just some independent doctor doing experiments because, like I said then, where's the funding coming from unless she's ridiculously rich? This is a big organization. I mean, high-tech lab, whole floor of a building in Hong Kong or Shanghai, wherever the heck this was. Facilities, I mean, equipment, people, personnel. A pretty impressive operation, I would say. We still don't know who's really in charge
Yeah,
or who they are.
I originally thought it was the girl in the flower dress, which is where the episode title came from. But it kind of reveals she's working for somebody else as well. So who do you think could possibly be? It can't be somebody we already know. So do you think it may be somebody from the movies?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I remember seeing a theory floating around that somehow Hydra might be involved, but Hydra, broke up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As far as I know, Hydra's defunct now after the events of Captain America.
Could be a small splinter group of them.
Right. So that's a theory I read somewhere. And other than that, I didn't see anything or think of anything that it could be. I mean, it could be someone we've known from the movies. It could be someone they haven't introduced yet. Or it could be something they should make up out of thin air for the show. I don't know.
Yeah. So we saw the girl in the flower dress, the Centipede organization, whatever you want to call them. They took on the street magician. They took him in and they tried telling him that they are going to be his new keepers, so to speak. They're going to train him. They're going to teach him. They're going to give him the freedom to use his powers, unlike S.H.I.E.L.D., who's trying to suppress the power. And then it seemed like the moment that changed his mind was when they gave him a quote-unquote supervillain name, Scorch.
Yeah. Scorch.
He seemed very reluctant to join this whole group until they gave him a name. But why do you think the name is what changed it to him?
I don't think it was entirely the name. Like, at first it was like Scorch, what are you, crazy? And then she kept talking about something I can't really remember. But after, he just like, Scorch, huh? It's growing on me. So, I guess maybe because they weren't telling him, she wasn't telling him no. So, like you said, she wasn't she was saying, we're not going to suppress you. We're not going to, police you or anything like that. We're going to actually let you use your powers. So, there was a little bit of an allure there, I think.
Yep. And then, I thought he was going to end up being another villain from the Marvel Universe, which is Scorcher. Which, he's actually from Spider-Man. So, I thought there was going to be some kind of crossover with that, but it ended up not being the case at all. It was a completely different guy. Did that even cross your mind, or are you familiar with Scorcher?
I'm not 100% familiar with Scorcher. The idea crossed my mind that he would be a fire-using villain, because there are multiple mentions in the Marvel comics of villains by the name of Scorch. I believe 3 or 4 different completely independent references of different people, but I think this was just an original one, or they used the idea of, hey, there was a bad guy in this issue of this comic, his name was Scorch, so let's use that to build upon this character for the episode.
Yeah.
I don't think there were any major villains though like that.
Right. So, speaking of building on to characters this episode, we learned quite a bit about Skye.
Oh yeah.
Quite a bit. This is a very Skye-centric episode. And, I mean, the very first scene we see with her and Agent Ward are playing Battleship together. And she's like, is this part of my training? And he goes, no, I just really like board games.
Well, he's like, yeah, I have to, see how you deal with certain situations under pressure. Forgot how he put it, and he's like, and I just really like board games.
Was I the only one that noticed that he didn't hit any of her chips?
No, I noticed.
He had white pegs all over the board. I didn't see any red ones.
I think she may have been cheating.
You think so?
Possibly. Or she was one of those, I'm going to put my ships all around the outside kind of people.
Mm. It seemed like she had them scattered fairly well. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the little moment when she made him say, you sunk my battleship.
Yeah, she made him say it.
He's very reluctant to say it. He did not want to at all.
Yep.
So, we're informed right away that Rising Tide has hacked into S.H.I.E.L.D. The blame is instantly put on Skye. Did you think Skye was responsible for this?
That hack, no. I mean, I love how it's like, that's the Rising Tide again. The Asian agent who tells them this, and everybody just does that and looks at Skye super slow mo, and he's all like, "You guys still there? Hello."
Yeah.
But no, I didn't think it was Skye. I gotta take that back. It wasn't her in my mind. It wasn't her who did it, but I thought she knew about it or would have known about it. So I was kind of at that point.
Yeah, I mean, we had seen, 2 episodes ago, she responded to the text that said she was in, something about the Rising Tide. So I didn't know if that was in reference to she infiltrated agents, that's what she said she was in for, or if she was in for some other project that they were working on. I didn't quite know what that text was in regards to. But
yeah.
I knew something was fishy, and I knew she still had allegiances with... blanking on it now.
Agreed. The Rising Tide people.
Rising Tide. I don't know why I keep forgetting that. But, yeah. So, I instantly thought that she had given some information out. Like, I totally blamed her just like everybody else did. So,
yeah, I didn't absolve her completely until way later in the episode. Even when she started, it's like, yeah, I'll track this person down, blah, 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 whatever. And she starts tracking them. She finds them. I'm like, you're just making this bullshit up. You're probably going to pick a really low-level underling of yours and, just throw them under the bus.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
But it turned out not to be an underling. It turned out to be the person who hacked into it. She gave him right up.
Yep.
Her boyfriend.
Yep.
What was your reaction on that?
I don't know. Obviously, they don't talk that often, which they can't really. She's on a government-controlled, supersized plane. My thought was, I don't know. Like, she's in undercover with S.H.I.E.L.D. trying to get information, and yet you're gonna hack them and potentially blow her cover. What kind of an idiot boyfriend are you?
Yeah.
So, I didn't like him. I didn't like it. Not at all.
Yeah. I don't know. Miles was definitely an interesting character.
Yeah.
You saw that, yeah, they haven't been talking for a whole while she's been there, but they're still very intimate when they got back together.
Yeah.
And she kind of revealed she had something. She showed a chip. She slid it into a compartment she had in her bra. And then she goes to scramble after supposedly warning him and Agent May is
Standing there holding her shirt.
inside the house. So at that point, it looked like she was completely guilty.
Yeah, because, well, she kind of was. I mean, she helps track them. You know, this is who it is. He's in Austin, Texas. Okay, we get there, and now she tips him off. And yet, that really didn't seem to work. I mean, I think she should have known this by now, that there's no way she's going to get one over on them, on S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
But she tried anyway. I mean, hell, she's sitting in the first episode. She's sitting there in her van, broadcasting something or whatever, and all of a sudden, van door opens, and there's Agent Coulson standing there like, "Hi."
Yeah.
So this is the same kind of thing. Hey, have you seen my shirt? Opens the door. There's Agent May standing there like, "Hi."
I could not tell who was more upset in the entire team when they found out the news about Skye having a boyfriend, being involved with the Rising Tide, the whole hacking thing. You have Coulson, who really adamantly takes it as part of his team. He was the one that recruited her. Like, he's positive he's taking all the blame. Then you have Agent Ward. Like, you could tell he's really jealous. Like, he was making a connection with Skye. Like, it looked like a relationship was brewing. And, like, he just got shot down. I almost paired the two of them equally. Then you have Agent May, who seemed like this was somebody she could trust and was looking forward to working with out in the field and stuff like that. She seemed completely betrayed on that level. You had Fitz and Simmons. Like, they seemed like they really made a connection with her as well. Mm-hmm. And like, they all just... Who do you think felt the most betrayed out of all of them?
Definitely Agent Coulson, because he caught shit from everybody for this. Ward gave him a hard time. Director Fury gave him a hard time. Agent May was giving him a hard time for multiple episodes. So I think he was definitely feeling it the most, because he vouched for her on countless occasions. And now it's just like, fuck, surprise!
Yeah.
Everybody was right. I should have listened to them. Shit. Kind of reaction.
Yeah. So then it turns out that they need Miles. They need Skye's help. They enlist them to come help them recover the centipede and hack into the system and shut everything down, get the doors open, like, all that stuff. So Skye goes out in the field. Miles goes in. He's doing all the work from the plane. He's doing all the hacking that way. What were you thinking when Miles was... I thought they were going to give him a job.
No, I didn't think they were going to give him a job, but, like, Skye's in there with them, and she's like, I need Miles' help, uncuff him. And then he's just standing there with this big shit-eating grin on his face. It's like, wow, really? I didn't expect them to give him a job because they already have one super genius, can hack anything hacker. Why would they need two? Especially when this one compromised one of their, one of their assets or something like that. I mean, currently at this point in their eyes, Skye betrayed them, but she really didn't do that much harm, really.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that.
Yep.
So, what about what we learned at the very end of the episode with Skye finding her real reason for joining S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah. Did I know that? Did I have any inkling towards that? No. Am I like, shocked? No, also. I'm glad that we finally know her real motivations and her real reason. And, I mean, I think it is kind of a good mystery. Like, she's just, she grew up, alone, an orphan. Her parents disappeared. She has no idea who she is, who they were. And the only thing she finds is a redacted file with, It's like, oh, look, here's 5 paragraphs, and we're gonna blank out 9 out of 10 words, and the whole file was redacted by S.H.I.E.L.D. So, who were her parents? Did they work for S.H.I.E.L.D? Were they people with powers? Or I can list about 50 other things, but who were they? And I like that. Like I like knowing that Skye has an actual reason other than to just be an anarchist bitch.
Yeah. I have absolutely no clue who her parents could possibly have been. Maybe some high-ranking members of S.H.I.E.L.D. We don't know when they went missing. We don't know. We know she was not raised by them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they were killed off or anything, right?
Not necessarily, no.
So as far as we know, they could still be alive.
Theoretically, yes.
Disavowed by S.H.I.E.L.D. under a different alias identity. They could still be working for S.H.I.E.L.D. in a different division, higher up somewhere, not on Coulson's team. Because we definitely learned that there's more to S.H.I.E.L.D. than Coulson's team. There was the Chinese branch, Hong Kong, whatever, so there's different branches of S.H.I.E.L.D., so they could be anywhere at this point.
Yeah.
So, do you think Skye's actually on board for real this time?
I think. I mean, it's under. It's definitely going to be under a closer watch and under probation or something like that. You notice, was in Miles when they let him off at the end, they just left him in whatever city in China they were in, and he's like, "How am I supposed to get back?" And it's like, not our problem. And they put this bracelet on him, and the way they put it is like, this. It's like, how do I know? What do I do? Is like, this will tell you, and something like that. I don't know, but I think it's like it's a bracelet. It's kind of like maybe like an ankle bracelet, except more high tech, and it'll tell them more things. And if they want, they could probably use it to electrocute him or something.
Yeah, they pretty much said you're not going to be able to go anywhere near an electronic device.
Right. And that's probably, that maybe it'll prevent him from using it without shorting it out or something. And then they put one of those on Skye at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, they did not put it on her.
Oh.
Coulson gave her a box and made her put it on herself.
Oh, yeah, she put it on herself. So that's probably her, probationary thing and her punishment. We're not going to let you use any of the computers without our express permission.
Right.
Makes sense.
I don't know. I feel like she's going to be on board until she finds out what she has to do with her parents. And then when she finds it out, there's going to be some other hook to keep her there.
Yeah.
So
she's going to grow
her parents are
attached.
still involved with S.H.I.E.L.D. in some way, shape, or form.
They probably are. If not, they're dead. I don't see any. I mean, really, what other outcomes can there be? But I think once she finds them,
what's going to keep her with S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Well, that's the thing. Once she finds out the truth, I think by that point she's going to be so attached to working with S.H.I.E.L.D. and enjoy it so much that she's not going to want to leave, and that'll be her hook.
Her answer is just going to give more questions.
And our chat room is saying Skye and Ward, I'm calling it, and maybe it will be Agent Ward. Maybe they'll have a thing.
I don't know if that's enough to get her to stay, because her and Miles had a thing, and something Miles did completely, she's done with him right now. That's it. They're done.
Well, that's, because he talked the talk, the big talk, oh, the government agencies wrong, they do this, they do that, they censor it, all this big crazy talk, and then, it's like, did you sell information? Because their whole thing was just like, revealing information the government's trying to hide to the masses. He outright, sold information on a specific person for millions of dollars to the Centipede people. And I mean, he kind of fucked up that guy's life by doing that, and she sees that as unforgivable, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he took the money, but then S.H.I.E.L.D. turned around and gave the money back to the family that lost Scorch, whatever. I don't remember.
Yeah, Scorch killed their agent, their Shanghai or Hong Kong or whatever liaison agent. So it's like, oh, by the way, Agent so-and-so's family thanks you for the anonymous donation.
Right. So we had that, and then the very, very, very end, the final scene, we saw a man in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw the lady in the flower dress talking to him.
Yeah.
We're not quite sure what he's in there for.
Something I read, the show credits his character's name as Poe, I believe. But I couldn't find any other significance, so I have no idea who he is.
Yeah. He referred to something as the clairvoyant.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure. Do you have any idea on who the clairvoyant could be?
Not a clue. He says she doesn't like to be disturbed, or something along those lines. And I have no idea. Nor do I have any idea what stage 2 or stage 3 of this. Like, we could assume that stage 1 of the Centipede project is getting it, working stable, and working in subjects. Stage 2 and 3, I have no idea. Stage 2, completing an army. Stage 3, attacking with said army.
I'm assuming stage 3 is the final stage, which has to do with the outcome of stage 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. So stage 3 is going to be the final step of the plan.
Yeah. I'd like to know what that is. But yeah, now that I say that, I had no idea initially what stage 2 or 3 was, but now that we say stage 1 was making it stable, then stage 2 is probably spreading the centipede or, the modified extremis virus with all of the other enhancements they made.
Yeah.
And then stage 3 is using all of those people now with centipede granted powers to do something nefarious.
Yep. So that about does it for that episode. We have the episode number 6 will be airing on November 5th. So we have a week off. No S.H.I.E.L.D. this week. When it returns, the episode is FZZT. So I'm not sure if this is a reference to Fitz of some sort. I don't know what the title could be in reference to. But it says, when floating bodies turn up, Coulson and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. must hunt down an elusive killer, and no one is safe, not even the team. So that's why I instantly went to Fitz.
And I'm thinking this might be our first, because when you see the preview, when they say floating bodies, they don't mean, floating no, they mean floating in thin air. Like lack of gravity.
Mm-hmm.
Like graviton. So this might be our first glance at that.
So you think we're going to see graviton immediately?
And I believe I remember hearing in the preview one of them saying, nobody could have possibly known about that. And if we remember, when they locked Dr. What's-his-face up, Coulson had the agent who did it, not log it, throw the tag away on the door, and it's just a vault.
Mm-hmm.
Period. No markings, no nothing. And I think it was Coulson who actually said, nobody could have possibly known about that.
Right.
So that's led me even more towards the, Graviton got out. He's now Graviton and he got out.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Do you think maybe Fitz could possibly die this episode?
It's a little too early for... Joss Whedon likes killing off your favorite characters. I don't think Fitz is anybody's favorite character yet, and I think it's way too early to start killing him off. See, the way Whedon does it is he makes you love the character. He builds you up, and when you are at the peak of really loving this character, bam, kills him.
Like Agent Coulson.
Like Coulson in the Avengers. Everybody loved Coulson from all the previous movies, and, they built him up even more in the Avengers. Like Wash from Firefly. He was a lot of people's favorite character, and then comes the movie, and spoilers, bam, dead.
Yep.
He just does that.
He does.
Bastard.
He does.
But it's 5 episodes in. we don't love any characters enough for him to kill them. Yet.
This is true. Maybe he'll kill Coulson again.
Maybe they'll mention it again next episode. And then again the episode after that. And then twice in episode 8.
Guaranteed, you heard it here.
And then episode 13 or 14 will be an entire episode dedicated to what actually happened to Coulson. And they'll mention 17 times in the first 5 minutes how he died.
And then the end of the season, we'll just have a montage of every time that he mentioned he died. I'm
just saying this because Dom over there. Whoops. Dom over there hates it every time they mention that.
It's driving me mad. We're 5 episodes in. I think I've heard it 20 times.
Yeah. I'm indifferent either way. It's like, yeah, we know he died, but man, it doesn't really bother me.
It's just redundant at this point.
We hear the Department of Redundancy Department.
Yes. Yes.
That.
Mike, where can the people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Thilladren, Thilladren.
And you can find us on youtube.com/ASOTV podcast for some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows. Until 2 weeks from now. See you later.
Farewell. Watch them. All of them. They're good shows.